Day 13. Yesterday, the letter was O. Emmanuel, go. And our picture for today? A letter?
Do you remember God's special messenger, Elijah? He wasn't the only one God sent to give messages to his people. No, God sent prophet after prophet after prophet. They were all very different. Some were poor, some were rich, some were old, some were young. Some knew they'd be prophets their whole lives. Some were surprised when God asked them to be prophets. One prophet was named Jeremiah, but he got an interesting nickname, the Weeping Prophet. That may not sound like a nickname you'd like, and to be honest, Jeremiah probably didn't like it either. But Jeremiah knew that when God gives you a message, you have to share it, whether it makes you laugh or makes you cry. Most of the messages God gave Jeremiah made people cry. Jeremiah warned them that if they kept on pushing God away, he would actually leave. Jeremiah warned them that if they kept ignoring God, God might ignore them and their prayers. Jeremiah warned them that if they did not listen to God, God would send them far away from home. With every message, Jeremiah cried. God cried too. He didn't want to be separated from his people. He didn't want them to be sent away. But he also knew that if he didn't do something, his people would never come back to him. So one dark day, God sent an army to destroy the temple and take his people away from their homes. The poor, the rich, the old, the young, even the king, even Jeremiah. Living so far from their homes and so far from each other, God's people began to realize that they were also far from God. Now they were ready for God to send them a different message. It was a message that made people laugh and laugh. And Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, was the one God chose to deliver the message. This is the message Jeremiah sent. It was a letter from God himself. My children, you're far from home now and far from me. I've got bad news. I've got good news, and I've got better news. The bad news is that you're going to stay away for a long time. You won't come home this month or this year or even this decade. So you need to make yourself at home where you are. Build yourself a house, start a family, plant a garden. You'll need all of them. The good news is that, as odd as it sounds, I'm going to do something good while you're away. I'm going to make your neighbors, who don't look anything like you, turn to me. Because of the way you love them, people from many nations will know me. But that's not all. The better news, and this won't last forever, but does it feel like you're all alone? Does it feel like my plans aren't working anymore? That's not the case. I am still with you. And I still have a plan, just not a today plan, but a tomorrow plan. In fact, it's a forever plan, and a good one too. It's a plan to take all the wrong and make it right, to take all the darkness and make it light. It's a plan to bring you back to me. Come back to me, and I'll come back to you. And when I do, you'll remember what another prophet said, Emmanuel, which is the name that means God with us. I love you, God. Jeremiah might have been the weeping prophet, but he knew one thing: God was with him. Even when it was hard, even when he was crying, even when people stopped listening to him, even when the temple got destroyed, God was with Jeremiah. But God couldn't remain. Sin drove him away. So Jeremiah, far from home, began to hope and to pray, God, will you come back to stay?